Okay, I think we're ready to get going for our CBBC webinar today. Good morning to those of you listening in from the UK, and a good warm afternoon welcome to people who are joining us from here in China. Thanks for joining Tendering and Bidding in China webinar today. I'm Jim Mahoney. I'm a China business advisor for CBBC, and I'm based in Beijing in China. Joining me today for the webinar presentation is Elly from China Tender Limited, and also the general manager of the company, Jockey Liu, is also with us today. First of all, just before we get going, just a quick introduction to CBBC and who we are. CBBC has been active in China and the UK for 50 years. We're the largest member-based organization solely focused on increasing and improving business between UK and China. To do this, CBBC works very closely with UK trade and investment to serve UK businesses with China research, practical China business advice, and targeted business and government introductions. We also serve our 850 member companies through 200 plus events and activities every year in both the UK and in China. CBBC has over 100 employees, and they're spread out between 13 offices across China and 10 offices in the UK. One quick note, on the control panel, as we're having our presentation today, feel free to ask questions. And if you just look at the bottom of the control panel under questions and chat, you'll see a little box there for typing in the question. I'll be able to see your questions, and I'll be dropping in as many questions as I can during the question and discussion part of our webinar today. Okay, so here we go. I'm very happy to introduce Elly Tsai. She's the international manager for China Tendering. And Elly's going to take a minute to introduce herself and her company, and then we're going to enjoy a presentation on bidding and tendering from Elly. Elly, all yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elly, the International Department Manager from China Tender Limited. China Tender Limited is a state-owned company in China, specializes in providing China tender information, project information, and bidding consultant service for international companies who would like to participate in bids in China. Okay, I will explain a general idea, the brief introduction of China tendering and bidding today. I will explain from three aspects: tender category, tender process, and bidding tips. Firstly, let's look at tender category in China. According to scope, tenders can be classified into three parts: goods tender, construction tender, and service tender. Here it's easier for foreign companies to participate in mechanical and electrical equipment tender, and it's difficult for foreign companies to participate in the construction tender and most of the service tender. I will explain more later, and you may also ask me questions after my speech. Okay, here, this table shows us the amount of goods tenders that's published in March 2013. From this table, we can see that most of the goods tenders are from machinery and electronics industry, followed by energy and the chemical sector. This table shows the amount of construction tenders that's undertaken in March. Okay, most of the tenders are from real estate construction sector. Okay, this table shows the amount of service tenders that's issued in March. Also, most of the tenders are from real estate construction sector. Here, according to tendering type, China tenders can be classified into public tender and invitational tender. I think it's very important here to identify these two kinds of tenders. Public tender means that a tender in the form of tender notice invites unspecified legal persons or organizations to submit their bids. According to number 4 decree issued by NDRC, NDRC is the National Government Department. A tenderee who adopts the public tender shall issue a tender notice on authorized media. Invitational tender means that a tenderee in the form of invitation to bid invites specified legal persons or organizations to bid. If you want to know more about the scope of public tender and invitational tender, I think you can contact me by emails after today's speech because it's a lot to say today. Okay, this is also very, very important to you, I think. According to open area, there are two kinds of tenders: tender for domestic bidding and tender for international bidding. The tender for domestic bidding, most of the tenders belongs to the government procurement are for domestic bidding. That means foreign companies cannot participate in such bidding. Okay, the tenders for domestic bidding are from the list in the Central Government Procurement Catalog, briefly called CPC. Okay, the CPC updates every year by the China national government. Okay, if you want to know the list, I can send you by emails. Okay, and also in China, most works tender, I mean construction tender, and service tender are open for domestic bidding. Okay. So what kind of tenders are for international bidding? You can participate for 79 kinds of mechanical and electrical goods. The 79 kinds of mechanical and electrical goods are listed in number 13 decree that's issued by MOFCOM. I can also send the list to you in English. Okay, and you can also participate in some design tenders, but like the construction tenders, it's a bit difficult, I think. Okay, here the table shows us the amount of China's international tenders. Most of them are mechanical and electrical goods tenders. From the table, we can see that most of the China international tenders includes medical equipment and medicine, followed by apparatus and meter goods tenders. Actually, most of them are medical equipment. Okay, let's come to the second part, also a very important part, the tender procedure in China. Generally, there are 6 stages of tendering activity in China: tendering, bidding, bid opening, bid evaluation, bid winning, and contract signing. Here's a brief introduction about the first step, tendering. A tenderee may undertake a tendering activity by itself, or a tenderee may entrust a tender agent to undertake the whole tendering work. Okay, if a project is subject to public tender, a tender notice must be issued on authorized medium in China. These mediums are China Daily, China Economic Herald, China Construction News, and also website chinabidding.com.cn. The English website is chinabidding.org. Okay, you can get the tenderee or the tender agent's contact information from a tender notice and contact them by the tender document. Write and submit bid document to the tender agent. So you can wait for the bidding results. Generally, we call it as tender awards. Okay. During the whole tendering process, there are many problems and questions that you may meet. Okay. The last part, I will show you the most frequent asked questions by my customers from all over the world. Okay. First one, Mr. Vincent from the Embassy of Belgium asked me which tenders are available for foreign companies to bid directly. Just as I mentioned, the 79 mechanical and electrical products are for international bidding. The list is in the number 13 decree issued by MOFCOM. They are English version. Okay, if you need, I can send you. And also, the projects with large-scale, high-value, complicated technology and management for which domestic bidders from China cannot reach the project requirements. Okay, also the D you can see here, the last one. Projects need import of advanced technology skills and management. Also, that means maybe the project is too complex with high-level skills and technology that Chinese companies cannot reach the level. So maybe such tenders may open to the international market. You have the chance to participate in the bid. And also, let's look at number C. Projects using loans or aid from international organizations or foreign governments. For example, if a project uses loans from the World Bank or the Asian Development Bank, maybe you have the chance to participate in such projects because such projects require other companies from other countries to participate in the bidding. Okay. Here, Mr. Clark from AGI. It's a company from UK. I don't know whether you know this company or not. Mr. Clark is my customer for almost 2 years, and he had asked me what is project information and what is the value of project information. Here, I think I need to explain the several stages of a construction project here. There are generally 6 stages: project proposal, feasibility study, verification of project approval, engineering design, preparation for construction, and under construction. Okay, usually service tenders come out before the stage of engineering design of a project, and the goods tenders come out before the preparation for construction stage of a project. Okay, maybe you know that in China, from the days of the announcement of a tender notice to the deadline of submission of bid documents, it's about 20 to 30 days. The time is so short that maybe for foreign companies, it's very short time for you to prepare well and win the bid. So project information seems more important here than the tender notices. I mean that if you can track a project information on the early stages, like project proposal, feasibility study, and verification of project approval, you may get more time to prepare well. You may obtain potential business inside, contact with the project's owner, and maybe find your potential buyers here. So I think that's the importance of project information. Okay, so maybe you may ask me where to get those project information since they are so important. ChinaBidding.com.cn publish tender notices every day, and also they gather project information and publish this project information on the website, and also send to customers, domestic and international. Okay, I think this is the most frequently asked question by almost all my customers from foreign companies. So what is the difference between among these 3 websites? And I had went to many other countries' embassies in China, commercial consulars' offices, and also they asked me the same question. There are so many China bidding in China, so which one is authorized? Which one I should register? Okay, I will explain it very clearly today. I don't hope that you can that you will waste your money to register. Okay, the first website, ChinaBidding.com.cn, is the only authorized website in China for announcing tender notices by the government of the People's Republic of China, NDRC, as I mentioned. If you want to know the details, I can send you the number 4 decree that's issued by the China government. Okay, ChinaBidding.org is the English website of ChinaBidding.com. Its commission is to provide English version of China tender notices, project information, and international bidding consulting service for foreign bidders like you from UK. Okay, I mean that if you have any questions or meet any problems when you participate in bidding in China, ChinaBidding.org can help you. Okay, the last one, ChinaBidding.com. Free registration for bidders who bid for mechanical and electrical goods tenders in China. That means ChinaBidding.com is also an authorized website in China by another government department, MOFCOM. You can see the number 13 decree that it's the authorized website for international companies to register for mechanical and electrical goods tenders in China. But it's free registration, okay? The registration is totally free. You don't need to pay any money here or any annual fee. It's unnecessary, okay? You can click the homepage of this website and got the complaint telephone number. They can tell you how to do, or you can just contact me. I will tell you the right number to contact with. Okay. Here, I believe that if you want to participate in bidding in China, you may have some problems of low risks. I think how to avoid these low risks. There are 4 kinds of very important laws in China in tendering and bidding area. Okay, I hope you can remember those laws, and also there are English versions. You can ask me for them. Tendering and bidding law of the PRC, the government procurement law, the regulation on the implementation of the bidding law of the PRC. Okay, measures for the implementation of international competitive bidding of mechanical and electrical products. Okay, you want to know more about these laws? I can send to you by email. Okay, number 5. Okay, it's my customer from Netherlands who is in the energy sector asked me the national key construction projects. So they asked me, are all national key construction projects belong to the government procurement in China? Can foreign companies participate in such projects? Okay, I need to say that, as you know, China is a socialist country, so there are many state-owned companies in China. So national key construction projects, I mean that the policies about national key construction projects are determined by the government departments in China. But these projects are run and managed by the state-owned companies. So whether such projects are subject to international bidding or domestic, it depends on the state-owned companies, not the government. Okay, so what is government procurement? All the goods, construction, and services are listed in the centralized procurement catalog. Okay, just as I mentioned, CPC. Okay, maybe the last question today I listed here. Bidders qualification approval. Maybe it's a bit different from Western countries. In China, usually in construction and service tenders, and the tenderer may ask you for your qualification approval. So the definition, qualification approval refers that tenderer shall evaluate the business license, professional qualification, financial condition, technical capability, management capability, performance, reputation, and others of bidders to check whether the bidders have the qualification and the capability to bid, sign, and perform contracts. Okay, there are pre-qualification and post-qualification. Okay, if you want to know more, I think I can explain it later. Because really time is limited. Okay, today we left some points here, like scope of invitational tender, scope of international tender, Central Government Procurement Catalog, 79 mechanical and electrical products for international bidding, and the several points. If you want more details about any one of them, we can talk more by emails, okay, or you can just call me. Okay, I think that's all I explained today. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Elly. Very helpful. Just to begin a little bit of a discussion, I'm just going to raise 2 quick points just to help get a little bit more information. You mentioned the official media where people can get information about the public tenders. What about additional information for notices or specific project information? Where do people go to get that sort of information?
Okay, thank you, Jim. Thank you for your question. Also, I think it's very useful question here. Where do potential bidders get tender notices and project information? I mentioned 4 authorized media here in China. Only one of them is website, chinabidding.com.cn. Of course, the information on this website are Chinese, so that's why the English version website exists, chinabidding.org. Okay, so according to number 4 decree authorized by the NDRC, the China National Government Department, all China tender notices must be published on chinabidding.com.cn for the first time once approved. Okay, it's also can be seen from the China tendering and the bidding laws. So, what about the project information? There are no any requirements by any laws or regulation that we must publish project information on any medium. But in order to help bidders to track a tender notice to win the bid, we gather all project information covering all industries in China. From the national and local government websites and also some companies' websites. We gather this information every day and update them every day on our website. So I think it's very helpful for you if you want to win the bid and if you track a project information. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Elly. You mentioned in the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned an example of service tender. You mentioned design tender. So are there specific, for these types of bids, are there specific requirements for foreigner bidders to participate in these types?
Thank you. Very good question. Yes, there actually, for most service tenders, especially design tenders in China, there are requirements. Especially, it's very difficult for foreign bidders to participate in such tenders because, just as I mentioned here, design tenders ask bidders to have certain qualification. So such qualification only exists in China, not in other countries. So if a foreign company wants to participate in such tenders, like a design tender, you need to get such qualification approval by China government. Ms. Tong from Sedgman, a company in Australia, who asked me the same question. Sedgman is a company from Australia, but 4 years ago, Sedgman registered its branch in Beijing, China. But 4 years past, they have no any business in China market because they have no such qualification, and they ask us to help them. Well, I think they must get such qualification approval, but it's not enough. Even you get such qualification, I'm afraid you cannot participate in such design tenders because, as you know, China hasn't signed the GPA at present, so not all tenders are open to the international market. So if you get such qualification approval, you have to form a consortium with a Chinese company and participate in design tender as one unit. Thank you.
You used GPA. Could you explain what GPA is?
Okay, GPA means the Government Procurement Agreement. Since China has joined WTA for many years, but China hasn't signed GPA at present. We are trying our best to sign GPA. Once we sign GPA, I believe most of or all the China tenders will open to the global market. No qualification limits then, I think.
Okay, great. So the qualification is obviously very important. Could you give us an idea of what other types of preparation work, for example, that a UK company would need to do when they're entering bids or trying to enter the market here?
Thank you. I think for UK companies to do the preparation work for UK companies to do if you want to enter China bidding markets, you need to, to track project information, try to establish good relationship with those project owners. You know, China market is such a complex market. You need to know them and let them know you. I think this is very important. And also, I think if you are not able to establish a branch in China, it's better for you to entrust an agent in China to bid for you. I think it's easier. And also you need to find a bidding consultant service agent to do the information consultant service for you. And also you may, if possible, I think you may participate in some seminars in China and also tendering and bidding training in China. It's good for you to get some more tips and more chances to win the bid. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Elly. You gave an example of the importance of the qualification, and an example of how a company that had been here for some years was not successful because of one regulation that they didn't fulfill. Could you give us maybe an example or two examples of a good example of where a Western company was successful and they did do good proper preparatory work or regulatory work, and they did get a successful bid, and what they did to make it successful?
Okay. Here's a very good example. I can give you the name. SPMS is a company from France. It's a company from France. Okay. This company specializes in polishing machine. Okay. Mr. Adam from SPMS had asked me many questions about China tendering and bidding activities, and also some tips. Here, I think I can share the tips and the problem that they met. Okay, the first problem they met is that when they prepared well and participate and start to buy the tender documents, the tender agency told Mr. Adam that no, you cannot buy the tender document because you haven't registered on tinybidding.com. So Mr. Adam have no idea, and he has to register on tinybidding.com and paid a lot of money, about $2,500 maybe. So I think it's really unnecessary. I hope before you buy any tender document, make sure that you register on the right website, and you don't need to pay any annual money or membership service. Okay, unless they provide you with certain service. Okay, and also Mr. Adam with his colleague Mr. Laurent flies to China every month, and they visit their customers. Like Elly is a very famous company in China, and also some other companies in the auto area. So I also think it's necessary. You need to contact with the project owner or your potential buyers, and you try to establish good relationship with them. I know it's very hard, but you must try that. That's the China market. That's the difference between China market and the Western market. So, and also, like for example, with China Tender Limited, organize seminars every year, and also tendering and bidding trainings face-to-face and also online. If you are interested, I think you can attend such training and seminars, communicate with Chinese people and meet more people and obtain more chances. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Elly. You mentioned, sorry, this is a question from Mark He. You mentioned that the NDRC is very important. Could you give us an idea of which departments or which other departments within or outside of NDRC are involved in verification and project approvals?
Okay, thank you very much. I think maybe you are interested in such question. I mentioned the 6 stages of a project. So what about the stage of verification of project approval? Okay, it's the NDRC, National Development and Reform Commission of PRC, that have the right to verify a project. To verify the project, and also it's the finance department of China to manage the fund. The Environment Protection Department is responsible for the environment evaluation of a project. Of course, different projects, there are different standards and requirements. These standards and requirements are made by the local and industrial departments. Thank you.
Okay. Just a note about CBBC. We through some of the research services that we offer, we've often done small projects for UK companies where we've gone and looked at the specific types of departments, the specific sort of officials that need to get in touch with and to get this sort of information as well. So working with people like Elly, we can help UK companies get that sort of information. Yeah, just moving on. This is a question from Rudolph. How can a foreign insurance company licensed in China participate in insurance tenders? Yeah, Elly?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I think you, as you know, that in China, the potential bidders need to submit bidding guarantee fees to guarantee their service and their goods or construction. So I think you can pay attention to such potential bidders and provide such service in their business of the guarantee fee issue. I think so. And from this aspect, I mean the insurance industry, you can enter China tender and bidding market. And is that clear?
Yeah. Okay. We'll see if we get more detailed questions on that one. Another question. You gave a couple of charts in your slides that just showed some of the percentages of what sectors Western companies are bidding in and such. Do you have an idea of, is there any data on what percentage of Western bids can be successful in China, or is that just a bit too, is the database just too large to get that kind of information?
Okay, thank you for your question. most of the tables showing the amount of China tenders. I have another table that doesn't listed here. It's about the China International Tender Awards. I mean the China International bidding results. From that table, you may see that in every month, most winning bidders for the China International tenders are from United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, and China. So followed by Italy, and United Kingdom also pretty good. In March, I remember that in March the winning bidders from United Kingdom is 34, ranks number 7 in the world in China tendering market. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Another question, just looking at medical equipment and medicine, that has the highest amount of international tenders. You mentioned on some of the bidding sites were specifically for mechanical and electrical types of equipment. For the medical, with such a high amount of or proportion of tenders, are there other areas or sites or places companies in those industries need to go, in the medical and medicine industry need to go to carry through the bid or get information about that sector?
Yes, ChinaBidding.com.cn updates tender notices from every industry in China, of course including medical equipment industry. So, and also among the mechanical and electrical equipment tenders, medical equipments and apparatus and meter schools tenders rank the first. So you can get medical equipment from the authorized medium, ChinaBidding.com.cn. Yes.
Okay, this a question in from Sue. Do we have? Can you give us an idea of the timing involved? So that's the question. I'm guessing maybe how long does the process take from seeing an announcement for a tender to going through the tender process to getting to stage 1 and stage 2 and the learning of approval or non-approval? Any idea of how?
Project or
tender?
Tender,
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I try to understand your Sue's question. Do you mean that when is available for you to buy the document? Do you want to know the process of the tendering activity?
Yeah, that would help. The process, and then could you give us an example or a guess of the time the process takes? How much time the process takes? I think that's the question. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So I think I understand your question. There are six stages of the tendering process, right? From tendering until the contract signing. Because I'm not involved in the whole process, so I'm really not sure how long will the whole process takes. But I believe that once a project, a tender subject to tender, gets approval by the China government department, it must start the tendering activity. First step is to publish tender notices if it's a public tender. Okay, from the first day that a tender notice announced on media to the deadline for the submission of bid documents is 20 to 30 days. So that's why I think product information is very important for you to track. Is 20 to 30 days is really very short time for you to prepare well. So before the announcement of a tender notice, I hope you can get in touch with the tenderer or tender agent as soon as possible. But I don't think you need to get in touch with the tender agent, because unless a tender notice published, they will sell the tender document to you. So I think it's better for you to contact with a tenderer or your potential buyer. After the the submission, after the deadline of the submission of bid documents, you need to wait around 10 days for the bidding result, because the tender agent will organize bidding evaluation commission to evaluate all the bids, all the bid document. So maybe you shall wait for 10 to 20 days, I think, and wait for the whether you are successful or unsuccessful. The tender agent will inform you the result. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And also, yeah, Sue just also added to the question. So the point being, sometimes from the media, the authorized media, let's see, yeah, tenders are announced just a few weeks before the submission date. So that's very little time. Could you give any advice on how companies can learn in advance or have more time to learn about the tender? Yeah, I think you covered that a little bit, but maybe you could go over that again, please.
Okay, thank you. So we track the project information from the first stage, like project approval, until the last stage, construction. So every stage we track the project and inform you in time. So you can get the information, and there is the contact information of project owner in every piece of project information. So you can contact with the project owner or the construction unit. So get the general idea how is the project. So and you try to maybe to negotiate with them and let them know you and prepare well before the tender notices come out. Usually before the engineering design stage, you always have chance to prepare well before the tender notice announced. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Okay, this another question. This is again a little bit. It's downstream, sort of after the tender. But the question coming from Louisa is: there is often some change in after a tender has been awarded. There might be changes after the tender has been awarded. And could you could you help explain that, or maybe a better example or a better question is any advice on why that happens or how to deal with that?
Yeah, you mean after the tender notice published or the tender award come out? Oh, the tender award come out may change. The problem may be that usually if the unsuccessful bidders have any doubt about the bidding result, I mean the tender awards, okay, the tender agents may reorganize the bid evaluation commission and evaluate the tender awards once again. So usually at this time the tender awards may be changed, because before the prior tender awards is not correct. There are many mistakes. So after the unsuccessful bidders submit his doubts, the tender awards may change, I think.
Any idea, does this happen often, Elly?
No, not very often, but sometimes.
Okay, great. Okay, I think time's getting down a little bit. So, just would you have any other just sort of a summary advice for Western companies? So you've done a very nice job. Thank you for going through the tendering process and some examples of what people have done well or people forgot to do. Could you just sort of maybe summarize 2 or 3 points that you often give your Western clients that or they ask about most often? Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for your question. I really have some advice for you. The first one is, I think you need to be familiar with China tendering and bidding laws, so that you can avoid many problems. And second one, you must you must establish a good relationship with your potential buyers. I think you can understand the situation, the environment in China. Okay. And if you have no access, we can organize seminars and invite you to join our seminars. Okay. The last one, do remember that if you just want to register and participate in mechanical and electrical goods tenders in China, do not pay any fees, no annual fees or no registration fees. Okay. If you met such problems, you can come to tell me. Okay. The three very important questions, important points. Thank you.
Okay. Elly, thank you very, very much. I think we'll finish up there. As we're, if you want to get in touch with Elly or the company China Tender, you see her contact information there, and or you can contact CBBC, and we'll be very happy to connect you with Elly. Going forward. Within the next day or two, on our website, which you'll see on the screen at cbbc.org, we will have both the slides and also a recording of today's webinar presentation that you can download. And on the same webpage from past webinars we've done, you could also download slides and also recordings from other webinars we've done. And we also introduce what some of our upcoming webinars are as well. Just a quick housekeeping note, with CBBC and the British Chamber of Commerce in China, a couple of things coming up in the next few weeks. In London, we're having our annual general meeting later this week. Next week, we have a webinar on the evolution of social business in China. Next week, we also have an event in Beijing on securing research and development tax incentives. And in middle of August, we have a China Senior Care Forum that's happening in Shanghai. So you can get more information about these on our website, or you can contact Cherry in the email that's on your screen. Okay. Finally, we'd just like to say thank you again to Elly and her colleague, Mr. Liu, who's here with us in Beijing. And thanks very much for joining us. We hope you have a very good day in UK if you're listening in from the UK, or a very pleasant evening here in China. Thanks again for joining, and if you have any further questions, please get in touch with either Elly directly or CBBC. Goodbye.